Hey, I got it. I got the Tekken 8 beta. Let's Shout out to Bandai Namco for giving your boy a beta key for the Tekken 8 beta. I was so excited. I jumped right into it immediately. I had to get my hands on it right away. And I can tell you just by jumping in immediately, the game is gorgeous. The game looks great. I'm digging this trend of like muscles bulging. You can see the veins on character. Things are just super, well, not super realistic, but very realistic. Before I get too far ahead of myself in here, I think it's fair to put a disclaimer out there for those who may be watching, some of you hardcore fighting game enthusiasts. I'm not that. I wouldn't say I'm beginner. I understand some things, but I'm probably like beginner intermediate, like in that area. So a lot of this gameplay that you're gonna see is probably not gonna be up to your standards, but guess what? I don't care. I can't tell you, after jumping into the game, the gameplay feels very similar to 7, which is very comforting to know that coming into this game, it's not gonna be a whole lot that you have to learn, and there are still gonna be some familiarities there from the previous game. But in managing to do so, they have made it accessible to new players as well. And I'm gonna get into that in a moment. First, I gotta touch on the heat system because we gotta get to that point first. Now I wanna explain a bit the difference between the rage system and the heat system. The heat system isn't the rage system. The rage system was introduced in Tekken 7, and that kind of gives you that last ditch effort to kind of turn the tide of battle back in your favor. Rage system is more of like the ultra move that you could pull off at the end of the set. Whereas the heat system is completely different. There's gonna be a period of time where you want to be as aggressive as possible to get that W over your opponent. The heat system is supposed to last 10 seconds. However, the timer stops when your opponent is hit or if they're in a down state. So theoretically, you can keep this heat going for a long time. In addition to having more, stronger attacks or different ways to combat your opponent, you also get something which is a heat smash, which is kind of like, akin to a super in Street Fighter. I originally thought the heat system was this convoluted gameplay mechanic that I probably would never ever use, or it was going to be something that I would have to save in critical moments to change the tide of battle, something like that. But I am happy to report that is not necessarily the case. You can use it however you want, whenever you want. You get it back each round, so you don't necessarily need to save it. Each player gets their heat gauge back at the beginning of a round, which is a plus for me because then it allows you to do even more crazier things that you could have done in the previous round and have you learn from your mistakes instead of just saying, shoot, I should have saved my meter for this, or shoot, I should have did this instead. Try it again next round. No harm, no foul. You got it. So the heat system is definitely interesting. Like I said, from the very beginning, I thought it was gonna be this complicated system to try to learn. Wrong. What I find interesting is that you can engage your heat with one button, you can even do your heat smash with one button as well. I thought this was gonna be some super complex combo that you were gonna have to learn, that you were gonna have to memorize. Nope, one button, that's all you need. Count them, one button. The heat system is going to be unique to each character, so you won't see King utilizing the Mishima style, and you won't see Jin using pro wrestling moves for his heat actions. And as a beginner intermediate player, it's really cool to know that I can perform a lot of this just by pressing one button. And of course, if you really want to press the button inputs for it, you can as well. It's just going to be triangle and X. Speaking of controls, there are 2 different control schemes that are available to the player as they start up the game. The really cool thing about this is that you're able to switch up the control scheme as you're playing. By pressing L1 or left bumper, you're able to switch between special style and then the classic style. This is something that sets it apart from Street Fighter and their modern style, where you would have to go into the settings and select which classic or modern, whichever is going to be best fit for your playstyle. While in Tekken, you can switch it on the fly and it can make up some really interesting combos. Now, the only downside to special style is that it does the same amount of damage as your regular moves would in classic, but you don't have access to as many moves. It should be noted too that when you are doing these special moves, you don't really have a choice as far as input of directionals in this. Whatever it is on screen or whatever you're witnessing if you're in training mode, you can only press the square, triangle, circle, or X, and it will do the moves for you. You don't really have much choice of how those are performed. And in the process of trying to learn moves, of course, you're gonna hop into the command list while you're sitting there waiting for a person to join your lobby so you can have that ranked fight. And in doing so, I see that the command list is a lot easier to understand than previous games. Harada has definitely made this available to new players. It's a lot easier to read than previous games. They give you some flavor text as well to let you know how to get out of certain moves, what these would be useful for, how to properly use the heat system for each character. And while all of that is great to know, it's still very limited in the demo itself as far as how you're able to implement these things while you're training, waiting for an opponent. The training dummy unfortunately doesn't have too many settings that you can play around with, so a lot of the times you're just at the mercy of a standing NPC. Like, you can just see that the options are there, but they're grayed out. So far during the beta, I've spent a lot of time with King, a lot of time getting my butt kicked, but I could definitely see myself playing with some of the other 15 characters that we have in this beta, which we are truly spoiled, by the way, of having this. I do hope that if you weren't able to get into the beta, the first beta, that you're able to get into the second one and enjoy the new systems, the new layout, the new gameplay of Tekken 8, because it's definitely worth the play. I think that this is going to be a day one purchase for myself. Honestly, the fighting game community is eating this year, and I think with this trend of allowing new players to come in, we could definitely see a surge of even more fighting games coming forward, even more people coming into the community and spreading the love of fighting games. Hell, this is for someone like myself who doesn't play as many fighting games as I would love to, or commit myself to as many fighting games. I'm definitely feeling it this year. With Street Fighter 6, Mortal Kombat 1, and Tekken 8 coming out next year, I'm good. I'm set. Ain't nothing else that I want. All in all, I'm happy with the Tekken 8 beta. I can't wait to play more of it. I do hope that you are able to get the chance as well to play it, because it is definitely worth your time to check it out. In any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you had a chance to play the Tekken 8 beta, what are your thoughts on it? What are your first impressions? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and share the video. Don't forget to press that subscribe button and press that notification bell. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.